Shawnee. Welcome back. We're in the office today. Yay! So excited. So like for today, half my clients are coming in to do in-person sessions and the other half are doing video. So it's actually like video in person, video in person, video in person, you know? So at least that'll give me some time in between. I just used the pharmacy hyaluronic acid. It's called Feeling Good. There's that. What am I doing? My makeup. Oh, I keep forgetting to bring a primer for my eyes, but that's okay. We'll just go in with concealer. I think I'll use the Fenty concealer as a primer. So I didn't think I was going to have anything to talk about today, so I wasn't going to do a video. And then, of course, as always, whenever I step out of the house, shenanigans. So I'm going to go in with the Fenty concealer as a primer. So I'm driving. First of all, usually when I come to the office, I wake up an hour earlier. So the night before, I try to go to bed an hour earlier, just to balance everything out. But I ended up going to bed a little later last night. I can't even remember why. Anyway, so this morning when the alarm goes off, I'm like, guess who needs a little bit more time? So I push the snooze button only once. Only once did I push the snooze button. Now, for some reason, because Rose is Rose, if I'm getting up an hour earlier, she assumes that she gets her food an hour earlier. So she's following me around, meowing at me while I'm trying to get ready. Usually I pick an outfit the night before, but I just couldn't decide. Like, I knew it was going to be hot today. It's supposed to be like 82, I think. But I wanted to be comfortable. Like, anyway. So I ended up with this blouse and this skirt and these shoes. Ew. Cute. And so I'm getting ready. I leave and I'm like, I'm gonna get coffee. So when I am going into the office, I usually like go past Dunkin' Donuts and get a coffee. So I'm trying to like just like shower, put on my clothes and get out the door. I don't have time to like make stuff and all that. So I just go ahead and get some coffee at Dunkin' Donuts. So I get to Dunkin' Donuts. I've already placed my order on the mobile app. And of course I get stuck behind someone that I can tell has never come to Dunkin' ever in their life. Because those of us in the morning, we know, get your coffee and go, right? Because we got to go places. All right, here's my little kit pack, and these are actually shades from the 27 palette from Melt. They are magnetic, so if you were wondering about your Melt palettes, they are magnetic. Now, they don't have the names on the back, so I just basically used my label maker and made the labels for these. I really have fun with my label maker. And I washed all of my travel brushes last night, so they are nice and clean. Let's start with this one. This is one of the Sonia G travel brushes, and we'll start with that shade Moonchild. So you can tell that this person has never come to Dunkin' because also they get like a pretty drink. They get two pretty drinks. One was just like all pink and the other was all green, which I'm guessing is a matcha or something. And then they're paying with cash. And it's like, don't we have an understanding that if it's the morning, like, you know that you just order ahead or something, or you just have a quick order, you know? Like, I was getting irritated. I wanted to honk my horn, but I'm like, what's that gonna do? She's just taking long to like read the menu, order her little pretty drinks, paying with cash. I'm like, girl, you are holding up the line. And I can see that on my GPS, like, you know, when it says estimated time for when you're gonna get to your destination, that mess is just going up and up. So it's gonna take me longer. So finally I get my stuff. They already have my stuff. They're ready. I'm like, yes, thank you. It's the same thing I always get. Y'all got it ready. So I'm driving And I can already see ahead of me that the traffic on the beltway, I don't even know, y'all, the freeway was like slower than typical if I had been like 5 minutes earlier, which is fine. So I'm like, great, gonna be in this car for a while. Anyway, so everything is fine. The GPS was trying to take me a different route, but I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that because y'all know how I get lost, right? So I'm like, I'm not even playing with y'all on this. I'm gonna go in with this shade here. I'm like, I'm not even playing with y'all. Like, don't try to take me a different way because you already know I'm gonna get lost. GPS, like, we've been through this before together. So I take my usual route, and if you have ever driven in DC, you know that nobody can drive out here. I say that about every place that I live, but can't nobody drive out here. The worst drivers, okay? I've driven in LA, Missouri, New York, New Jersey, Florida. I've driven a couple places, and nobody can drive here. Okay, I don't know how people be getting their license. I don't think they really be taking tests. I think they just be like applying for it and getting it in the mail, like some coupons. I don't know what's happening. So I'm driving, everything's going good. Now I'm on New York Avenue. If you've ever driven in DC, I'm on New York Avenue. I think New York Avenue is like 3 or 4 lanes. Okay, so okay, let me start from the right. The rightmost lane, you can either go straight or you can turn right on like Florida Avenue. And then the other 3 lanes, you go straight. So I'm in the rightmost lane. A couple of cars before me, they turn, but I'm going straight, which, you know, when you see the arrows, like the arrows on the street, it's like one going like that and one going straight, right? You understand what I'm saying? So I'm going straight, everything's fine and dandy. And then the person over here, they decide that they're going to just throw caution to the wind and they're going to turn from the like second to the right. Yeah, second to the right lane. Either that one or the third one. So essentially, I'm driving and they just whip in front of me. When I tell you my car was right here, like right there, on there was like just like a breath in between us. So I slam on my brakes and I'm honking my horn, and the car behind me is slamming on their brakes while this jackass is just going, flying across the lanes. And I hear like and I'm like, oh, either I hit them in their nice car, and since I'm driving, right, I would have hit them on the passenger side, or home dude or home girl behind me hit me. And then I look in the back and I see that my entire tote bag has just like flipped over. So I was like, I think that's the boom. But like at this point, I can't stop because it's the middle of the street. I don't think I hit anyone. I don't think anyone has hit me. And I was just like so effing pissed because I'm like, dude, pay attention to the road signs. You about to cause accidents up in here. Going with this shade. So, like, now I'm just, like, shaken and discombobulated because I'm like, oh my God, I just almost got into an accident. Like, first of all, ain't nobody got time for that. And I was like, thank God I have good brakes and, like, I guess good reflexes, because that could have been really bad. And I think I would have been the one that was more injured because I would have hit them on their passenger side, you know, but it would have been like head on for me. So I'm irritated because by this point, I'm not too far from work. I'm a good like 10 more minutes or something. So I call M and I'm like, dude, I almost got into an accident. And he's like, what happened? So I'm telling him, and I'm like, that's ridiculous. And he's joking. He's like, and we already know you don't have a sense of direction. I'm like, what does that have to do with this that I'm talking about right now? What does that have to do with this? Okay. So everything's okay for the most part. And I'm just like, all right, let me just focus, calm down, get to work. And you know, nowadays, remember when you could just like give people the finger or cuss people out as they like do something stupid in traffic? Nowadays, child, people be trying to beat you to death. For real, for real. So I'm like, let me just go about my business. And you go ahead and drive your little BMW while I'm driving my little Honda. And we just gonna call it a day. So everything else goes fine, and I get to the parking garage. And you know, this is where all the shenanigans always happen. So I get into the parking garage. I wave my hand and get the little card, the little ticket, right? And I see that there is a spot like right there. So these are the good spots, right? Because, okay, you come into the garage and either you can go to the right and down, and that is like monthly parking, or you continue straight and you either go left or right. That puts you on C2. We talked about C2 last week, all right? So when you come a little later, you usually have to go straight and then turn, because you're going to go to all the other, like, it's a lot of parking spaces over there. That's where sometimes they double park and everything. It's like a puzzle. They know what they're doing. But today there was a spot over here, which is like, those are the good spots, because it's only like 5 or 6 spots right there. So those are like the prime spots, because you're right by the exit, by the ramp, right? So I was telling Em, I was like, I'm not even gonna try to use the elevator today, because last week I got lost in the building for like 10 minutes. And he's cracking on me, just making jokes. Like, I'm like, dude, I can't be perfect at everything. Like, you know, I just have no sense of direction. Thank you very much. So I park, and I'm feeling real good about myself for some reason. I picked up everything that fell out of my bag and everything. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and try this elevator again. So what I could have done is just got out of my car, and y'all, I backed in and everything. Got out of my car and turn right and go up the crazy mountain like ramp, right? I could have done that. But instead, I decide I'm gonna go this way, and then I'm gonna go around and around and around and around to the elevator. Now, I see the parking attendant, and I was like, so last week I got lost trying to come back in. Like, how do you get back to the parking garage from the elevator? So he's trying to explain it to me, and I'm like, okay, sure. Like, I don't know what the heck. I'm still confused. I'm gonna go in with this Fenty Beauty primer. Oh shoot, I wanted to use the Danessa Myricks one. Maybe I'll put that one on top. Let's see how that does. So he's trying to explain it to me, and I'm pretending like I know what he's talking about, because I'm like, I don't understand. like you do what now? 1D, 1A, 1 star. And he's like trying to explain. So you are on C2. I'm like, okay, I got that. And C1 is downstairs. I got that. And I was like, but there's no C2 on the elevator to come down. But then as I'm saying that, another car is coming in and he has to direct them, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go. So I get to the elevator and I push up, and I'm like, is that correct? Do I go up? Like, now I'm questioning everything about my life. I'm questioning everything right now. So I'm already confused, and I'm like regretting my choices. I'm like, I should have just walked my ass up the ramp. That was the, got a little, poked it with my nail. That's the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Balm, the Universal Balm. And this is a mini that I ended up getting at Sephora. It was like a gift with purchase kind of thing. That makes my Skin so smooth. Yeah. Oh, snap. I meant to add, did I really not do that? I meant to add another foundation because this Fenty one is kind of like almost done. So let's see what we can get out of it. So what was I saying? So I'm regretting my life choices right now. And I'm like, I should have just gone gone up the ramp, because that's what I said I was going to do. I was like, I'm not even going to try with the elevator today. I'm just going to go with what I know, you know? Just going to go with what I know. So I get in the elevator. There's a woman already in there. And, you know, like one star is already pushed. So I'm guessing 1 star is the lobby. And so I see on the elevator, C2. Now this isn't the nice fancy elevator with the smart screen. This is just a regular old elevator with just like numbers and letters. Nothing too advanced, right? So I view, because C, it's such like too many C's. I view that there is C2. And so I'm like, oh, there is a C2. Like if I'm by myself in the elevator. And the lady was like, yeah, you just take that to go back down. And I'm like, I swear to God, there's no C2 when you're trying to come back down. Okay? And she's like trying to explain it to me. So this is person number 2 trying to explain it to me, right? I should have told her, girl, people have already tried. I just can't get it. Like, you could try, but it's probably not going to be successful. So I get out of the elevator, and what I was going to do, because Dion suggested that maybe it was like a different elevator that I had to go in. Maybe it was an elevator on the other side. So I was going to look on the other side. Like the elevator's right across from the elevator that I came out. And I ended up not doing it because I've met my quota of embarrassing moments. And so, I mean, I'm fine. I don't really get super embarrassed about things, but like there is to a point, you know, like after about 5 times, then point number 6 is where I'm like, ooh, that's embarrassing. So I just feel like I'm too close to that number. And I see other people in the lobby, and I'm like, I was going to check the screen, the smart screen on the other side to see if maybe there is a C2 over there. But I'm like, I don't want to embarrass myself, so I'm going to just walk out the building. So when you get off the elevator in the lobby, you make a right, and that is where the security person is. And you can either go to the right or to the left to get out. It's a big building. You can exit on either side. And if you go out of the right one, you're on one street. If you go out of the left one, you're on another street. So let's call the one on the right A and the one on the left B. Okay. So I go to the security guard. Mind you, I had a croissant in the car. I didn't realize I had like a piece of croissant right here. Didn't realize it until like I turned on the camera. So I'm talking with croissant like hanging from my lip. And I go up and I ask the security, I was like, excuse me, because he's eating his breakfast, but I really need to understand this. I was like, excuse me. So I got lost in this building last week. Like I just kind of took a tour of it. And so I'm wondering, like, how do you get back to the parking garage? So after he explained it to me twice, I think I got it. So what you have to do, according to him, is you come in and you go to elevator D. Now, for me, this is what, like, how am I a therapist? Because I wasn't listening. I was like, oh, you push D? He's like, no, you go to elevator D. All the way at the end. And that's where you can push C2. And I was like, oh, so you go to elevator D and then you push C2. He said, yeah. I'm like, committing that to memory. It's in here, not going anywhere. And also now, I don't know which way I'm supposed to get out. So I'm like, and he's like, that's A, that's B. And it took me a second because I had to remember, what street is my office on? Okay, this is the Becca and what is it? Smashbox lightener thing. So I haven't used it in a while and I want to make sure to use it. And it's just a brightener that you can put down to brighten up your under eye a little bit. I think that made a difference. Okay, so I figure out that my office is on A Street. Now, if I had gone on B Street, I was not gonna walk back through that elevator or through the lobby because, like I told you, we're pushing to the limit of embarrassment. I would have just walked around, hopped over that barrier and everything like I did last week. So I get into my office and here we are now. And so the plan is when I leave, I am going to try to use the elevator again to get out because I need to prove to y'all and I need to prove to all these other people in my life that I can manage to work an elevator and I can manage to get myself back to the parking garage. I have to prove myself, y'all. And you know what I said to the security guy when he was explaining it to me for the second time? I was like, I promise I'm smart. As I have like croissant dripping down my face and I can't understand how to get from point A to point B. So I need you to just give me some, good vibes that I am able to find my way. And of course I will update you next week. Let me finish everything and I'll be right back. So here is the finished look. This is today's work look. Yeah, I think that's it. I will be sure to update you on if I am able to successfully navigate myself out of a building and into my car. So stay tuned for next week. I hope that some of this was helpful, and I also hope that you continue to take care of yourself. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.